And in this round, we're going to be seeing the map as Storm Daemon, with VM Talcore bringing the Wood Elves in blue against Senor Turusan as the Skaven in red. And Kawas95, thank you for letting me know too. Alright, so let's begin with our blue player as we usually do, who are the Wood Elves. We're going to be seeing 4 Dryads, 3 Deepwood Scouts, I'm sorry, make that 5 Dryads. And then we're going to be, what else are we going to be seeing here? Okay, we're going to be looking at Wild Riders with Shields and the Lost Sylvan Knights, our ethereal Great Stag Knights. And then for the leadership, we're going to be seeing Ariel, a hot topic issue lately. We're going to be seeing her with the Berry Wine, Acorn of the Oak of Ages, Soul Stealer, Apotheosis, Greater Arcane Conduit, Ancient's Protection. And that will be it for the giant butterfly lady. Her husband will also be on the field of battle, and it will be Orion with the Hounds of Orion, the Hawk's Talon, and the Cloak of Isha. Now, going over the Skaven army, looks like we're going to be seeing Clan Rats with Shields. Going to have 4 of them. Going to have Skaven Slaves with Spears, and then 2 regular Skaven Slaves. Going to have 2 Eshin Triads in the back line supporting, supported by 2 Wolf Rats, one with Poison, one with the Magic and Armor Piercing. And we're going to have 2 Brood Whores, an Assassin. This Assassin's going to have, of course, his Concealment Bomb, Assassin's Trophy, and the Rival Hide Talisman. And then we also have Lord Skrolk with Liber Babonicus, Rod of Corruption, Stand Your Ground, Pestilent Birth, Vermintide. And that's going to be it for the Skaven, besides Poison Wind Mortars and Warplock Giselles. Now, it does seem like the Skaven are going to be getting caught off guard here with a full rear Vanguard deployment from the Wood Elves. So, Deepwood Scout's going to be shooting the Skaven in the back, and immediately our Skaven player, I think, is going to see what's going on, and he's going to have to push forward and turn his lines around ASAP. And it looks like right now this is going to really pressure his micro. And so far it looks like he's doing okay. He did a good job creating some distance. Oh no! Acorn of the Oak of Ages getting a lot of value there in the center of this huge blob. Now the Hounds of Orion going down, and look at the Wood Elves just taking advantage of all of this blobbing in the confusion from the aftermath of this rear guard deployment from the Wood Elves. And now we're going to be seeing the Dryads pushing in very quickly, the Brood Whores diving in against the Lost Sylvan Knights, who also have a Liber Babonicus on top of them. That Liber Babonicus is going to be so hellish for them to deal with. And then you also have the Natty Boo Boo Sharpshooters, Warplock Giselles firing in. But holy hell, look at this rout, ladies and gentlemen. Just an entire fist of Skaven units getting terror routed and now routed. The Eshin Triads, Clan Rat, Spears, Wolf Rats, Poison Wind Mortars are in the mix here. You have Wild Riders with Shields on top of them. You have Dryads chasing them off. Can the Skaven recover from this? I mean, their hero squad so far is doing okay, but the Brood Whores, look, there goes one. Orion diving in, hitting them real hard. Lost Sylvan Knights still holding together. Orion unbreakable, and he is going very hard after that Brood Whore, but now the other Brood Whore is still alive, is diving into combat. I mean, can the Skaven reorganize themselves and pull it back, or will the Wood Elves just ride this to victory? That Vanguard deployment was devastating to the Skaven, and I think, as you saw here, unlike, the top level play, and no offense meant, it's clear that turning around and reforming his army. It looks like the Skaven player struggled to do that, and the Wood Elves have just capitalized on that immensely. Over here, Orion and Ariel look like they're not going to have any issues. You see there's 3 Deepwood Scouts who are firing into this combat right now and just deleting Brood Horrors and whatever else they decide to delete. And this looks like it's going to be a very, very decisive victory to the Wood Elves with a very nice Vanguard deployment rush build. Also, do you think Orion is self-conscious that Ariel is taller than him? Because, like, even if she wasn't levitating, she just looks like she's a bigger girl than he is. Yep. Yeah, this was an opening move victory. It doesn't happen as often, but, man, he played it well. Clan Rat Summon coming in. Acorn of the Oak of Ages shutting it down before it could even get started. Do you think they're the same height? I don't know. She still looks taller than me. I don't know if Jay will flip your whole formation around, though. I think that just turns... Doesn't that just turn every unit around? Or does that literally flip the entire formation around in the same way it was deployed? Yeah, no, the Liber Barbonicus on Lost Silver Knights was very nice, but it just didn't work out. That Soul Stealer did so much damage. That huge terror out on the Skaven right flank. Well, I guess initially their left flank until they found out the army was behind them. But yeah, that opening was just so rough. That terror route, like the Wild Riders getting in there, just smashing so many units as they tried to run away. Same with the Dryads, who are quite fast. So able to keep up their fleeing Skaven a lot better than, you know, Eternal Guard or other infantry units. That was, yeah, pretty devastating across the board. Really nice punishment of the blobs that naturally developed because I think Senor Turu was caught off guard by the Vanguard, got flustered, and made some micro mistakes that were really nicely capitalized on by the Hounds of Orion, the Hawk's Talon, Soul Stealer, and then Acorn of the Oak of Ages. Like, just really good punishments across the board from Talcore there. I think the question now is, you know, clearly that was a rough start to a battle and it was very hard to recover from, and Senor Turu was not able to do so. But now the question is, will he be able to recover from that quick 1-0, you know, that quick loss in the first round to bring it back to a tie, or will this rather decisive defeat tilt him and, you know, perhaps affect his gameplay in the next round, perhaps leading to a quick 2-0 for Talcore. So Senor Turu right now is absolutely vital that he keeps his wits about him, stays calm, cool and collected, recognizes that, hey, it was a rough draw. He didn't react under the pressure as quickly as he needed to, and also perhaps added pressure because this is both of these players' first match being streamed today. So right now he just has to stay calm, and if not, then we'll see what happens. Okay, so taking a look at our red player, since it is round 2, we're going to see EC Senor Turusen with the dwarfs in blue. Marcus, thank you for the follow. Going to have 4 miners with blasting charges. The remainder of this infantry, you're going to see dwarf warriors. 1, 2, 3. Oh, goodness gracious. Looks like 5 of them in total. We're then going to have 1, 2, 3, and 4 units of Slayers. I'm in love. I love Slayers so much. Thank you for the follow, Gaming Extra. Now, other than the Slayers and the other infantry units, we're going to have 2 Thunderers and Ulthar's Raiders, ROR Rangers with great weapons. These guys do have marked by Ulthar to reduce missile resistance, armor, and missile parry chance if the unit has shields, so very powerful ranged unit here. And then we're going to see 2 units of cannons. And man, it's hard to hear over these shouting dwarfs, I have to say. Going to have a Rune Lord here, leading this army by himself with Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin, and nothing else. Okay, so for the Dark Elves now, our blue player, match point for VM Talcore. He's going to have a front line of Bleak Swords. Looks like we're going to have 5 of them. 2 Black Art Corsairs, and then 2 units of Sisters of Slaughter. 1 on either flank. Don't be fooled by their scantily clad nature. These guys are heavy hitters and can slice up some low-tier Dowie, no problem. Although they do struggle against armor on occasion. We're going to see 2 Reaper Bolt Throwers for that artillery potential. Then we're also going to be seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Dark Shards with shields. So silver shields on top of these bad boys are going to give them a nice 55% missile block chance. And then leading the army, we are going to be seeing a Sorceress and Supreme Sorceress combo. Oh no, a Death Hag is going to be in here. So Death Hag on foot, bonus versus infantry, got that poison. And then we're going to be seeing, oh goodness gracious, I'm having a hard time staying on the Death Hag. There you go. Nope, there you go. Also going to be seeing the Chill Blade for that constant AoE effect, reducing 5 melee attack and 12% speed, making those stunties even slower than they already are. Supreme Sorceress of Shadows is going to have Arnzapal's Black Horror, Arcane Conduit, and the Penumbral Pendulum. We'll see if we get a nice Arnzapal's Black Horror, as when it is placed right, that wind spell can do so much damage. The 2 Dowie cannons making their presence known, firing away at the Reaper Bolt Throwers. We'll see if they are successful or not. So far, both Reaper Bolt Throwers still full-on models. And the thing about Reaper Bolt Throwers and Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers is they just always seem to be the champions of sniping down enemy artillery. So they have less range, which is obviously a big disadvantage, but we'll see now that they've closed the gap if they can start killing off those cannon models, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And it just, yeah, you see each one of those bolts just seem to be direct hits on the cannon models every time. Over here, cannons firing away once again. And it does look like we have our first casualty among the Reaper Bolt Throwers. Dark Elves down to 5 artillery models. To the Dowie, 5 artillery models. So, once again, looking like a pretty even engagement overall, but I do predict that the Reaper Bolt Throwers will come out on top. And now the cannons are actually shifting targets. Going to be targeting the Supreme Sorceress of Shadows, which I actually like a lot. Doing some good damage to her. I would like to honestly just see her come over here to the forest and hide out there and cast her magic from the safety of the woods. She is a large target on that cav, and the cannons will have a field day if they are allowed to continue targeting her. You see? Look at that. Look at her health just disappear. Run over here to the woods, but oh no, the Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin is on top of her, reducing her speed to 26. And the Dark Elves already could be put into a very difficult position if one more volley of these cannonballs go off and kill the Supreme Sorceress of Fire. There she is, very low in health. She's almost around the ridge, though, almost to the safety. And I think she's made it. Oh! No, I spoke a little too soon. She got hit one more time, but she's routing, and she may survive now. Reaper Bolt Throwers firing away, and at this point, I do think they have won the artillery duel, bringing these guys down to 4 models. In the front lines, we're going to be seeing Dark Elves running into Dwarf Warriors, smashing into them, Bleak Swords, Black Art Corsairs, you name it. Over here on the right flank, Sisters of Slaughter, as well as Bleak Swords coming into combat, but as they got pinned in place by Dwarf Warriors and Miners with blasting charges, the Thunderers have just unloaded, and these Sisters of Slaughters are getting slaughtered. Over here, same thing with the other Sisters of Slaughter, Slayers coming in to fight them, Thunderers just shooting them to pieces, and right now the Dwarfs looking pretty strong in the initial engagements, but here comes the Dark Shards from the Dark Elves pushing forward, and now they are in range to really start pouring out a ton of really heavy armor-piercing missile fire. Look at that. Thunderer just disappearing, melting underneath the bolts from these crossbow units. Sisters of Slaughter, although both very damaged, still hanging in there. They might even come out on top over here. Penumbral Pendulum smashing those Dwarf Warriors. And now the Dark Shards. Yeah, I don't know if the Dwarfs are going to have enough meat on the bones of their army to deal with them. Reaper Bolt Throwers still at 5 models. The Dwarfs are still at 4. Over here, the Death Hag is actually looking like she may be losing combat here against the Rune Lord. The heavy armor of the Rune Lord can be deceptive. But once again, just like, these Dark Shards are completely unchallenged. And if you have 5 Dark Shards that are all above half ammunition against a Dawi army that is running low on infantry, you really need to peel off these Slayers and start chasing down Dark Shards and screen them out as quickly as you possibly can. Because if these Dark Shards continue to close the gap and fire away uninterrupted, the writing's on the wall and this game is already over. Death Hag, Master Rune of Wrath and Rune is on top of her, slowing her down, and it looks like the Rune Lord's actually running away from her now. Miners are diving into combat. Sisters of Slaughter are coming in, though. Bleak Swords are coming in, too. And it just looks like the Dwarfs are running out of options here. And VM Talcore once again putting up another strong display, although this time I think the Dwarfs also putting out a very strong display in return. But unfortunately for them, it's just like, even with the Slayers now who are on top of the Dark Shards doing what I think they've needed to be doing for a long time here, considering there weren't any large units for them to fight, I think the speed of these guys needed to be utilized pretty much from the beginning on top of Bleak Swords. And look at this, though. You know, these Slayers routing one of these units, these 3 guys shooting into them, sure doing a lot of damage, but now you have a second unit of Slayers coming in from the other side. Over here, you see the Rune Lord is still hanging in there. You're starting to see Thunderers who have regrouped in the back lines getting nice avenues of crossfire into the Bleak Swords and the Black Ark Corsairs. Some Dwarf Warriors, tattered but alive, yes, coming back into the fight, hitting the Sisters of Slaughter who are so low on health that they might be able to help eliminate them completely. And, you know, anything is possible with the stubborn leadership of the Dwarfs, you know. Over here, Slayers continuing to slay the Dark Shards. Right here, you see these ones in the woods fighting these guys who are isolated. Slayers over here. These are the guys who were just shot to pieces. 10 models on them, and since they're unbreakable, they are still killing the Dark Shards. So, I don't know. The Slayers really coming out clutch here in the final corner. The final inning, whatever you want to call it. Bleak Swords losing to the Thunderers. Black Ark Corsairs is going to be losing to the Rune Lord and some Dwarf Warriors. Bleak Swords over here, winning against some cannons, but there are some Slayers hitting them in the back. Ulthar's Raiders in front of them, who have great weapons, so they're no chumps in combat, but it looks like they're not going to be able to hold. And then coming back to the frontline engagements, once again, Slayers. These 25 models running around wreaking havoc. Looks like they're going to stay in the forest, I would hope, and chase down these 2 Dark Shards. The other 2 Dark Shards on the periphery are going to be firing in on them, but one of them is very low on models and the other one is very low on ammunition. Reaper Bolt Thrower is still online, but getting low on ammunition. We'll see what they do here as the battle becomes approaching its very final stage. Thunderers losing to Bleak Swords, but we do have Miners, Dwarf Warriors, and Slayers diving into the back, or I should say a Slayer, since there is only one more model left. And now there's Dwarf Warriors over here that should be able to surround and perhaps kill these Bleak Swords before they can really get any steam going. Dwarf Warriors are going to be pushing out to the Dark Shards. Thunderers are going to be coming in to fire. Slayers over here continuing the chase on those Dark Shards. Rune Lord, very low on health. I don't know if he can hold together anymore. Cad Garrus, thank you for the follow. The Thunder is going to be firing away, but you can see they're kind of getting shot to pieces now by the crossbow bolts. They're almost out of ammunition. Don't know if that's going to make a difference, as it does look like army losses are kicking in. That's going to be a GG. Talcore winning it 2-0 against Senor Turusan. But I have to say, I don't think it was because Senor Turusan was tilted at all. I think he played that second battle very well. But tough matchup. It tends to be a tough matchup when you pick Dwarf's first pick. So all points to him for style and for putting up a great fight in that second round, especially after that first round Vanguard shenanigan really caught him off guard. And a big congratulations to VM Talcore for winning that series 2-0. And he's heading to the final. So time to go see who's going to face him in the other semifinal. in just a moment, and that's going to be AC Moore taking on Maximus Decimus. Yeah. It's funny how little mobility there was in this Dark Elf army. I mean, clearly Rune of Wrath and Ruin usually there for like some chariots or anything like that to slow them down and shoot them to pieces, but yeah, he kind of found himself not really needing it in the end. But across the board, you know, I like this Dowie army for the most part, especially like the Slayers. I think Slayers are just super useful, and I do stand by what I said, whereas like, especially against this army, where Ladawi had enough infantry, you see, 4 miners, 5 dwarf warriors, is enough to tie up all of this infantry for at least a time, -1, I suppose. And if you had all of these Slayers, who are faster than everything here besides the Sisters of Slaughter, just like rush around the flanks and just start killing all these Dark Shards, I think we could have seen a totally different outcome to that battle, because honestly, the Dark Shards are what won it there in the end.